What's good, 99 Dreamers? We back at it. Episode 7 of the 99 Dream Podcast. My name is Julian Taliaferro. You already know we coming again with another weekly business update, lessons of the week, and then topic for the day, which is Who Am I? And the reason I have it titled Who Am I is because I'll get a little bit into about who am I now and then who I want to be in the future. What does that person 10 years from now, 20 years from now look like? What can I tell myself now to make sure that I take those steps forward to become that person I want to be? So that's the topic. And I think it'll be a great talk for us to have and, identify some things about how to move forward and really isolating that correct story about who I am now and then who do I want to become. And I think this is the crucial basis, for everything, because you want to be able to develop as an entrepreneur, but also as a person. And, we'll kind of get into that. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to start now, but so the quote that I have for this week is always take action over intaking somebody else's action. And this just means what it says. Instead of seeing somebody else reap those benefits of actually putting steps forward, do it yourself. Take the action and then you'll be the one to receive that success and reap those benefits. And, you'll be the one at the end of the day who's happy because you're knowing that you're taking those actions and you're not being complacent and you're not waiting. So that's the quote for the week. And now I want to get into my business update. So for my e-commerce, last week that I said I couldn't really do too much because it was a waiting game and I was waiting on my sample delivery to come from my manufacturer in China, but that it should have arrived by the time I recorded. So it actually did arrive. I just walked in the house maybe about an hour ago and my package was delivered and I was able to receive my product. My product looked amazing. The quality looked great and all of that, but my product did not come in its correct packaging. So I expected my manufacturer and I communicated to my manufacturer that the sample should be in my own packaging with my logo and with my UPC code, but this did not happen. I only received the product. So now I have to talk, go back with a dialogue with my manufacturer and inform them of this and get a new sample. So get, that next phase started. But I will say it is frustrating because that pushes back, my timeline even more, waiting 2 more weeks for another shipment. And then from there, I'm just very, I want to be able to put in my bulk shipment order now because I know it's going to take, months, like a month or longer for me to get that 500 pieces of quantity. So, but I know that I can't do that until I do my due diligence. So I have to get a new sample and see what my actual product will look like when I sell it to each and everybody on Amazon, right? So I need to get my product packaging. Also, I was able to go forth with my Amazon Seller Essential account and get everything set up. I was first able to submit my application, submit all my paperwork, and then from there go through an identity verification with a Amazon worker. So mine was on Tuesday at 8 a.m. and I was on Zoom with them for them to identify verify my identity. And this was successful. So everything went great with that. And then Amazon also sent a code number through mail for me to verify my address. And this was successful as well. So now I have full address to Amazon Seller Essential account. So my next steps for this are to just fully understand everything about, the Seller Essential account, watch a lot of videos and tutorials about, the ins and outs of, this platform to make sure I'm comfortable with it before I actually start selling on the marketplace. Also, I'll be taking a back seat on my marketing company that I said I wanted to start. About 2 weeks ago, I highlighted that a marketing firm is a company that I wanted to start, but I'm realizing that it's not realistic for me to start that now. I need to become successful in one business endeavor before I venture out. So that's e-commerce. So I'm putting all my eggs in this basket and putting all my energy forth on, this e-commerce being my main company, my main thing that I want to become an expert on. And then once I do this successfully, then I can diversify my portfolio and look at what it means to start a marketing firm, right? But I'm not there yet. So these next couple of years just going to be all e-commerce. And, I think it's great just so I can direct all my energy into one thing instead of, having a split mindset. Also, for my comic strip, I'm posting 3 comics a day on my Instagram page. So I'm being, consistent or repetitive every single day. Make sure that I'm pushing content out into the world. Make sure that I'm throwing those bricks into the ocean. But I am, my Instagram is having a couple of problems with this page. It's not allowing me to put ads up anymore. And maybe it's because of the type of content that I was submitting for ad approval. And maybe it did not go forth with Instagram's, terms and conditions. So that I think that they blocked my account, so I can't post ads anymore. So the only thing that I can do is just push out this content and hope that I can grow naturally, with my comics, and hope that, my followers share my posts, and then from there, it shares and shares again. So I can only build naturally. And I think this will be good just to see what this consistency looked like. And maybe it was a blessing in disguise that, I couldn't actually go forth with these Instagram ads. Sorry, you guys can probably hear that dog in the back. I don't know if you can, but it kind of distracted me. But yeah, so Instagram ads not working. So, have to grow my following naturally. And then secondly, also, in terms of the podcast, I'm trying to improve, like I said, every episode. So now I have an intro and outro. And now I also will be putting my podcast on all podcast directories. So you can listen to my podcast on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. You'll listen to it on Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio. Any podcast directory, you'll be able to find me. So, just trying to level up there. Like I said, every episode get better and better. And then now I can kind of get into my lessons for the week. And I had 3 of them. So my first one is about public speech. And I got this lesson from David Shands, like usual. And this is just about the key to becoming a successful communicator, a successful public speaker, is just being able to paint an image, right? Being able to paint a story. Every time you open your mouth, you paint an image, you paint a story. And that allows whoever you're conversing with to be able to resonate and see that image in their own mind while you're talking. And that's the most crucial thing in becoming a speaker. And for me, I know it's going to take work in order for me to, allow my skills to improve. I was watching a Steve Jobs interview, and he did that amazing, being able to, paint that image. And when I hear him talk, I can hear the passion, but I can also see the visual images of, him and Wozniak in a garage, working on this software or whatnot. So like I said, just for me, my lesson is I need to get better and better at becoming a communicator and painting those images. My second lesson for the week is I was watching a LaRussell interview, and he had this offer-based payment system or mechanism or business model, right, where everything he sells is offer based. So instead of attaching a price to a product that he's selling, he leaves it wide open for the customer to choose whatever they want to pay for that specific product. And that allows first for him to see, how do people value my product, right? Which I think is important to know what is your value in the marketplace, but authentically from the customer. But it also allows the customer to give above and beyond what a specified value may be. So there's no upper limit. You could pay $1,000 for a t-shirt, but because somebody supports you and supports your brand, then they're going to pay that. And I think that's what makes the offer-based model so intriguing, but also about he allowed for his consumers or his fans to take a piece of equity into his music. So a song would have 100, shares, and then people who buy his song, he would allow them to have equity in his song. So everybody's winning. So seeing a business model like this where everybody wins, even the consumer, it's a switch from that cold-blooded mindset that only the seller wins and the seller needs to put, have these high prices, or, the company mindset where sales are sales and the company only needs to benefit, but the mindset of where everybody can benefit, the company, the consumer, everybody benefits. And from there, that makes everything more successful because everyone has such a positive mindset on, the product or, whatever you're offering. So how do I integrate this idea into my own businesses? So for my comic page, I'm looking now about how do I monetize, my comics. So I'm thinking about, making a website and then putting an ebook on my website with comics from each month. And then from there, I'll use the offer-based business model with whatever product I'm selling, on my website. So starting off on that ebook, but then if I get into coffee mugs, my logo on it, if I get into t-shirts, everything will be the offer-based model. And then my third lesson of the week is from watching a podcast about emotional intelligence. And this will kind of play and tie into my topic for the day, which is who am I? But the emotional intelligence was just saying that there's power in your words. There's power in what you tell yourself. So if you tell yourself that you're going to become successful, then you're going to be successful. If you tell yourself you're going to be great, that's the story you tell yourself. If you tell it 100 times over, you're going to believe it. And then once you believe it, it becomes true because you're naturally going to put forth those necessary steps to become great, to become excellent, to become that peak version of yourself. So that's kind of what they were talking about in that podcast about emotional intelligence. But outside of being an entrepreneur, as I said a little bit earlier in the intro, becoming a better version of yourself. The only way I'll end up being successful in my business is if I'm successful internally, if I have a good heart, if my mind is clear, if I can think straight, if I care for people, if people care for me. That's the only way I'm going to really be able to build a successful business, or one that I would want to build. That's the only way, is if I have those personal intangibles already within myself that I've developed. And that goes into my topic, like I said, of the week. And who am I now is a person that needs to work on caring for others, a person that needs to work on cultivating and building relationships, somebody who needs to work on communication and things of that nature. So these are things that I highlight in my life now that aren't up to par, that aren't where they need to be. And then my steps that I need to take in order to achieve that are every day. I practice communication. Every day, I try to make somebody else happy. Every day, I do a positive act for the day, or I check in with a family member, or I text my sister, or I text my friends, ask them how are they doing mentally. Taking these small steps into becoming the person that I need to be. And then it's also scary sometimes because you want to make these changes, but you don't want to unearth why you are the way you are, right? It's kind of scary sometimes to dive deep and take that real personal look at yourself and realizing that, you are flawed, and, you're never going to fully become 100% healed. But what you can do is every day try to heal yourself. So every day is a healing process, and you may not, ever become 100%, but the process of constantly healing yourself, getting better and better, that's a benefit for everything. And the life that you tell yourself, the story that you tell yourself is going to become true. And I think it's just important to have these things in mind. And the story you tell yourself, that's kind of like branding, right? So branding is everything. What I can learn from how I brand myself, it'll be how I then brand my business. So you brand yourself every day. What do you put on your clothes? How do you smell? Do you brush your hair? are you brushing your teeth? Some people don't brush your teeth, right? Which is crazy. But, how do you brand yourself? What do you want people to see when they look at you, right? And then that'll go hand in hand with when I have this business, what I want people to understand or think of this business when they hear the name. What does this business represent? And you'll be head and shoulders over everybody else because you'll understand what it really means to be somebody at the base, at your identity level. Who are you? And when you can figure that out, then everything else will be able to fall in line. And this is something that's going to happen, one day. This will happen now, tomorrow, all the way until, I die. A continued process of learning myself, a continued process of trying to figure out, who am I that day? Because even though I'm 20 years into the process, that's not enough. I need to continually develop. Continuous mindset, continuous development is not just a phrase, it's a lifestyle, right? So everything is gonna go forth in that fashion every single day. And that's kind of just what I want to talk about. I hope that touched on some things that possibly that you needed in your own journey. And now I want to lay out my next steps for my podcast, not my podcast, sorry, just for my next steps in general for all of my business endeavors. So by next week, I should have communicated with my manufacturer that my sample was great, but it's not what I expected because I needed my own packaging with my logo and UPC barcode. So what does next steps look for that? I should be a lot more comfortable with my Amazon Seller Essential account. So knowing all the ins and outs of that software. And then also, my podcast. So it should be on all directories by then. And, we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I'm still trying to get better at this podcasting thing. I know I might be a lot of repetitive in some things that I'm saying as I, have some crutch words and things of that. But, the only way I get better is by taking action. So, just, get better every day and let's get it, y'all. Going to achieve your 99 dream. And it's 99 dream because you're going to achieve your dream. And it would be 100%, but nobody's perfect. So you're going to achieve 99% of that. And let's go. Let's get it.